Hey, thanks so much for coming back to Jake's Face Reacts. This is episode 5, which is going to be the last one of the grand final, where I'm going to look at the results, try to break down the numbers for you, give you a little bit of a recap between how the votes were split between the juries and the televoters. Again, this is the countries that finish in 16th place all the way through 26th place, which is the last place in the grand final. So I'm going to show you a clip just like I have on the other ones, where I've broken down for you on the screen, starting with 16th place, you know, who that country was, what the overall score was, and then I tried to break down for you at the bottom how many votes they got from the jury versus how many votes they got from the televoters. So enjoy this clip. Uh, 16th place, Ireland. Ryan O'Shaughnessy and Together was the name of the song. Finished with 136 points. All of these spots were so close. I would say spots like 15, 16, 17, even 18, 19 were relatively close to each other. Ireland had 136 points. They got 74 of those points from the jury and 62 of those points from the televote. I would call that pretty even. I love the song. It was just sort of a breath of fresh air from some of the other music that we heard. I thought that Ryan sort of stood strong when he was sort of questioned relentlessly by the media about why he would choose to include a gay couple in the performance. I mean, they were in the music video. Did no one see that? Like, it shouldn't have been that shocking to you that they were there in the performance. And I thought he did a good job of sort of adjusting the performance after the first rehearsal I wish we could have seen more of the dancers, but I understand that it should have been about Ryan, and so the dancers came in. I want to say about a minute through, or a minute into the performance, and the crowd just reacted so positively to that. And then I loved at the very end of his performance, instead of saying like "Thank you, Europe," he used his time to say "Love is love." Perfect. I mean, I loved it. And considering that you didn't qualify last year, Ireland, that's a big improvement. All right, 17. Ukraine. What's going on, Ukraine? I have a feeling you're not too happy about this. Look, you had to go first, and it was a good opening to the show. Here's what I couldn't believe, and I still can't believe. So Ukraine finished 17th with 130 points. Okay, the public gave Ukraine 119 of those 130 points. The juries only gave it 11 points. Like, something's not right there. Something is not right. There should not be that big of a gap between those two totals. And I'm just looking for a second here because I have a sheet that tells me, and what's even more shocking than the fact they only got 11 points was that those 11 points only came from 2 countries on the jury. 6 of them came from Azerbaijan. 5 of them came from Moldova. Those were the only points that Ukraine got from the juries. Period. That's shocking to me. I mean, surely they had to have seen that it was a great performance. I can argue with you all day about how, yeah, it probably wasn't top 10, but, I mean, 11 points from the jury? Like, really? Something's not right. 18th place. That was the Netherlands. Waylon, outlawing them, finished 121 points, 89 from the jury, 32 from the televote. That's too big of a difference for me, too, because the jury gave him a lot of points. I personally feel like the televoters had it a little bit better when you look at the overall ranking. But I think the juries were reacting to the fact that he had been there before, that it was a country song, so it was him taking a risk. That's all that I can think of to say for that one. 19th place went to Serbia. 113 points total was not what matched. That's my dog. I'm so sorry. Sorry, let's try that again. Serbia, 113 points. 113 points. 38 from the juries. 75 from the televote. I feel like Serbia might have suffered a little bit from what happened to Suri, because a lot of people paused it, a lot of people were rewinding it and watching it again, and they just might have missed Serbia. But I mean, it should have finished higher, just in my opinion. Just my opinion. So sorry that my dogs are barking right now. Okay, sorry about all that confusion. All right, 20th place, Australia, 99 points total. You didn't get to 100. You were close. 90 points came from the jury. Only 9 points came from the televote. Look, Australia, like, you've asked my opinion. I'm going to try to be constructive here. You peaked, for me anyway, with Dami M. It was the right song. It was the right singer. It was the right performance. You need to kind of go back and try to figure out what it was that connected there so that you can have that magic again, because I just don't know. 9 points from the public vote. And Jessica, she had a great personality. I felt like the song was sort of, it just never went to a super awesome place for me. It just kind of stayed. I didn't like the fact that she tried to just use crowd involvement instead of relying on her vocals. I thought that the staging was not up to par, like just having some lights behind her and then the not using any of the stage made it just seem so, the stage just seemed so empty and huge. And then, her voice was kind of shot there by the time that she got to the finals. Kind of the same thing that happened to Isaiah, but he was able to adjust vocally. And I loved, like, her dancing and just her spirit and all of that. But maybe it's time for Australia to have a national final, or instead of just selecting someone. And maybe it's time for Australia to let other teams of riders sort of collaborate, because it's my understanding that it's been the same team of riders for every year so far for Australia. So yeah, that was 20th. 21st place, Hungary, my boys from AWS. Yeah, no, 28 points, sorry, came from the jury. 65 points came from the televoters. The televoters kind of got it more than the jury did. I still think, it was probably just so jarring to a lot of people that that this was the only time they tuned into Eurovision, that they were not expecting it and they didn't even know how to react to it. I'm not surprised that the jury scored it the way they did. I'm a little surprised that the public did not score it higher than they did, but it is what it is, right? 22nd place, Slovenia. That was Leia Sirk and Hvalne. She finished with a total of 64 points. 41 of them came from the jury and 23 came from the televote. I mean, I liked the song. I'm so glad that it qualified because it deserved to. I didn't quite understand the weird, like, our music stopped, help us sing back, and then it came. I mean, if it's just a one-shot thing, then that might have been effective, but when you've done it like 12 times, it's clearly not a mistake or an accident. So, but I liked her and her press conferences. She was super great, positive, hilarious, sort of, yeah, all of those things. So, I'm so glad, Slovenia, that you qualified for the grand final. Yeah. Spain. Great. Spain finished in 23rd with 61 points. 43 from the juries. 18 from the televoters. This to me is one of the more, probably the, no, I won't say that, but it is shocking. It is. When I was watching the grand final live, Ukraine opened the show. It was awesome way to open it, and then Spain went after that. And I have to say, like, it was the first time that I teared up at a performance during this year's grand final, because first of all, Alfred was like so I've never seen him smile that much in a performance. He was you could tell it meant a lot to him. They both sounded great. If I had to sort of objectively put myself in the minds of the juries and the televoters, it might have come down to the fact that the staging was just so minimalistic, right? I felt like Spain spent a whole lot of money on the front end, right? Like, they did the show, which was kind of like Big Brother, and it got down to Amaya winning, and then they decided Amaya and Alfred would go together. And the music video was amazing. Like, at that part where it soars in the bridge, they started flying in the music video. Now, I didn't expect them to start flying in the grand final, but I think we expected more than just them still being on the main part of the stage and then getting closer together. Like, it felt anticlimactic. It felt like Spain didn't spend a lot of money, on the performance side of it. They spent a lot of money on the front end and on promoting it, but not really on the performance. And at the end of the day, you got to have a performance that matches the song, and the chemistry between the two of them is electric, and it's amazing. I just wish that, like, especially for that swell in the song and the bridge, that there would have been just something more than what they did. But to me, 23rd, I mean, I don't see that. I'm sorry, I don't. I see, like, top 15, that's where they should have ended up at worst. All right, 24, the United Kingdom, Surrey Storm. I spent some time talking about this, so I'm not going to spend too much more time. She ended up with 48 points. 23 of them came from the jury, 25 of them came from the televote. The most shocking one of all, for me, in this grand final, Finland, Sara Aalto, monsters, next to last place, 25th place, only 46 points, dead even, 23 from the jury, 23 from the televoters. I guess there was so much buzz going into this about Sara Aalto that I thought that she was a top 10 finisher. I did. I think that, though, if you look back, the performance, I always think about fashion, and I don't even know who said it. It was somebody famous, and you're probably going to laugh at me, but they were like, you need to look in the mirror, like, and then take something off, take an accessory off or something. I felt like Finland could have used that advice, because it was like a lot in that performance. It was like 3 different sets, fireworks, shooting a firework gun, being turned around upside down, moving around. I mean, it was a lot, and I think at the end of the day, the televoters just did not know really what to think about that. It just seemed like a lot, and it's a shame, because we all know she can sing, and but I was still shocked that it came in next to last. I mean, whoa. 26, last place for the grand final, went to Portugal. And I get that, each year is sort of a yin and a yang, right? Like, you see sort of the opposite thing happen in one year than what happened in the year before. But I didn't see this coming at all. Last place, I mean, they got a total 39 points, 21 from the juries, 18 from the televoters. The song, I mean, it was a beautiful song. I still, if you go back and watch, I think it was the prediction video right before the grand final, and I was trying to explain that the staging was still confusing, because if Izaro wanted to be the singer of the song, then she should have been the singer of the song, because I felt like she overshadowed Claudia, or she tried to, but really it was just a little distracting to have her just come out there and sing, some harmonies. It was kind of like, for the people watching, it was probably like, who is this person? Like, what is happening right now? Because Claudia could have handled it on her own. She had a beautiful voice, and I think it would have finished higher, but I felt like people were distracted from Izara sort of coming out there, even though people suggested it. I was one of them. I said, it's a little distracting. Is there any way that she could just maybe do the harmonies from like a bridge and still show her, but don't have her like right here next to Claudia, just sort of a little bit behind her. It was, I don't know. The performance side of that was what I think hurt them the most. All right, so we did that. Yeah. All right.